IVM.
For creators, it's hard enough to keep track of invoices and payments, and if you combine it with our crazy schedules and work hours, let's just say that paying bills on time is something that always falls through the cracks. Which is why I love the CRED app. It reminds me to pay my credit card bills on time and rewards me for those timely payments. And what's more, CRED has some unbelievable offers for this IPL season. So make sure to double click on that ad and download CRED. This is Storytellers and Storysellers live on tape. I'm Vineet Kanabar. Welcome to the now annual solo transmission IPL episode on this podcast. Why is it annual? Because I did one last year and now I'm doing one this year. Will I ever do another one, you ask? Or will I leave it like the Indian Cricket League? Will I do 75 more like the Oscars? Who knows, man? Who knows? It's been a crazy year though, and a crazy month so far too. COVID numbers are up. And so are devotees to the Kumbh Mela and Bhaks to the Bengal elections. It's funny because India is reporting these daily record numbers for COVID, and there are still many here among us who think that it is but a joke. It's not a joke, as you can tell from the situation around us, from the news that you're seeing, or from experiences of your friends and family. It's not a joke. Both my parents contracted COVID in the last fortnight or so, and while they're both on their way to recovery, we're very fortunate that we could manage their treatment in Nagpur before the shortages began. And now as these numbers are going up, you can see the medical infrastructure getting overwhelmed, and very, very few states seem to be really equipped to deal with this anymore. That's a scary place to be. If any of you have played the mobile game Plague Inc., you know what I'm talking about. These are situations that lead to maybe civil unrest, maybe breakdown of infrastructure. For those who don't play games with morbid outcomes, Plague Inc. is a game where you simulate a global pandemic and you win when Earth's population is wiped out. But yeah, here we are in a lockdown that isn't a lockdown, a night curfew that is kind of meaningless really. And there's a massive uncertainty around everything again. Movies are delayed, people aren't able to go out, entertainment is confined to what you can do in your own home or on your phone, or maybe if you're lucky enough on your TV. And that's taking its toll. But it's at times like these that live sports has often been the solve. It's the expression that so many, at least most men and a lot of women as well now, find. It's where people can vicariously live outside their homes as young men on cricket fields, in empty stadiums, or if you're a football fan, you can just watch live matches 5 nights a week now. It's unbelievable. It's great. On this episode, I want to talk about the biggest sporting event that we're seeing, like I said, the IPL. I wanted to talk about some of the brand side conversations that caught my eye while the India Ka Tyohar has just kicked off. The biggest story on the brand side that everyone seems to have conveniently just taken as business as usual is that Vivo is back as title sponsor after having to miss out last year because of anti-Chinese sentiments. For those who care about the numbers, Vivo had a 440 crore per year deal that was suspended during last year. That in turn allowed Dream 11 a once-in-a-category chance, pretty much, to come in and take over the title sponsorship of the IPL at a very, very reduced price, almost half of what Vivo would have paid at 222 CR. When asked about this, though, Vivo officials played it with a straight bat. They said the environment is a lot better this year than last, in what is a repeat of the obvious. The deal, it seems, is continuing on the same terms. There is no acrimony over the matter anymore. Nobody is holding anybody's collar. Nobody is saying the Chinese are evil. And Vivo continues to enjoy dominant market share in India with about 27%. It's, in fact, growing 10% year on year, even as the handsets category shrank by 17% in a COVID year. Vivo's India revenues at 25,000 crores. Turning to Dream 11 now, because all my friends seem to have, literally all my friends, every morning around 11 o'clock, multiple WhatsApp groups on my phone blow up with an invite to join that day's Dream 11 tournament among friends. There are Excel sheets where folks are maintaining records of who won on what day and will get computed into a treat calendar or some kind of joint treat at the end of the IPL. It's insane. Dream 11, the fantasy gaming app, has officially become a companion to how the IPL is consumed in India. And the app continues to dominate advertising as well. This time, they've released a 12 film campaign featuring Hardik Pandya, MSD, Shikhar Dhawan, and Shreyas Iyer. The messaging of Team Hai To Maza Hai seems to accurately reflect where this category is in its journey in India. While everybody loves to make their own teams and try to predict who's going to do well, etc., what the phenomena of people playing together and a team of friends playing this game against each other as well has become more and more dominant in the messaging. In previous years, the advertising has focused on more functional category building aspects of fantasy gaming, right? The legitimacy of the game or user actions like making a team, etc. But this time around, the comms don't glorify the game as much as the players themselves, as well as the players or the users themselves. So it's very, very interesting. There are other players in the market like MPL who are also trying their hand at this kind of a simulation with the game like tennis. However, they seem to be launching full page print ads for some reason. It's a wonder that someone thinks anybody in the MPL user base is reading newspapers. But back to Dream 11, the ads, while there are 12 of them, they may not be as memorable as the ones last year, but they're still pretty clever. The girl dipping her thermometer in chai to get out of a social situation from her mom is just acutely relatable. A constant on CAT, and it's very heartening to see CAT really going after cricket in a very passion point driven way. Their advertising continues on strategic timeouts. They're present on air. They're also present on podcasts on this network. There's a notable new twist, though, on the IPL's power to create content, and that is with MX Players' deal to be the short video partner for 7 of the 8 IPL teams. MX has made some great strides in the last couple of years with Times' strategy of taking over an app that has an existing base working really well. It's given the platform huge scale and huge pull, and now with content from 7 teams available on it, MX has really played it smart to engage a diverse audience without needing to pay immense costs that you need for sports content a la Hotstar or Sony Live. Short video is definitely going to be the future of fan engagement, and MX's deal really solidifies a strong proposition from these short video players. It also lays the groundwork for official rights of this kind of short video kind going forward for these platforms. I expect in the next few years, IPL teams will charge a much higher value for these rights and opportunities. Another interesting advertiser on IPL is Upstocks. They've sort of taken a leaf straight out of Amphi's playbook. Upstocks has some fun, interesting spots that are trying to get users to invest in stocks through their apps. The idea is to say, stocks mein investment start karke to dekho. As if it's a good habit, though. What stood out to me is that they're trying to go the oversimplification route for something that is inherently very, very complex to understand. And stocks aren't for the risk averse, and they take a fair amount of market knowledge to get right. Mutual funds went the oversimplification route because they are essentially simple to do. It's get a systematic investment plan, stick to it, spend time in the market, and you'll make money. It's as logical and as simple as that. For Upstocks and for another brand called Grow that's doing the same thing, sure, IPL advertising might get you the downloads or the registrations, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall when the results for these kind of investments come out from a business perspective. I'd love to see how this works in the long term. What are the kind of investment volumes it drives as opposed to simply registration volumes? Clearly, the category is looking for investment vehicles, and IPL seems to be the, highest common denominator. I do think these apps would have to give more thought to how to truly add value to investor education and retain the customer in these payment life cycles. Another category that seems to have cooled a little bit is EdTech. The two leading brands, Unacademy and Byju's, have carved out their areas of cricket. But I still find it very unbelievable that education is now sold on the jerseys of the Indian cricket team. It boggles the mind to imagine the consumer and have simulate a conversation that might be happening in their homes. Imagine a dad who's asking their kid to go study on their Byju's course while he's watching the Indian cricket team wearing a Byju's jersey or watching Byju's ads on the IPL or Unacademy ads for that matter. Talk about mixed signals. And finally, to talk about the buzziest ad this season so far is the CRED ad, the new ad. You didn't hear it? Oh, Oh, I'm not talking about the one with Dravid. I'm talking about the one that you might hear on this podcast in my voice. I'm just joking. Of course, I'm talking about the one with Dravid. I really think it's a brilliantly captured cultural moment. They took the well defined, cool, calm, and collected image of the wall and mock shattered it in a way that truly no one saw coming. Nobody saw it coming, right? Definitely leagues ahead of their slightly overdone campaign from last season. You remember the Bappi Lahiri, Madhuri Dixit, Govinda campaign? There was something mesmerizing about watching Dravid break the rearview mirror in that ad like he's Kurt Cobain smashing a guitar up on stage. And what's predictable is the narrative that has followed the ad. Did it really work for the brand? Did it not? What does it do? It doesn't really help me understand what CRED does. What is CRED? People have a million reactions, and the jury is going to be out on that and can only be answered by the CRED team, frankly. But the trend that CRED has set up is undeniable. CRED has set the gold standard for the ad as a branded meme. Think about it. Both parts of the ad are highly memeable. The gym sarp section, it grows on you in its simplicity, but it lands the message up front with some ready to be memed Drake hotline bling kind of images with simple sentences there, right? And it leaves so much breathing room for what the audience really wants to see, which is Rahul Dravid go berserk. If ads are to be measured on creativity and their entertainment value, CRED has really hit this one out of the park, with Indira Nagar Ka Gunda doing a great job for them. As a CRED user since October 2019 or so, it didn't matter much to me, really. I enjoy CRED. It helps me pay my bills on time. I know I'm not paying any extra money, what I don't owe. I know I'm not paying hidden charges. It's really convenient, and it presents a really boring conversation in a fun way. I've also found that buying coffee on CRED just really makes a lot of sense. So I do that too. But from a business perspective, it seems CRED is going to pivot to other financial services besides credit card repayments. And that's obvious. Credit cards reach about 30-40 million people in India. And there's going to be a ceiling very, very soon. So it just makes sense that they're pivoting to other financial services. And this strategy to build up a brand and keep it relevant with the IPL seems to be really working for them. To wrap up this episode, on the field though, I'm a KKR fan. So I'm glad the team has started really well this time. Tell me what position you think KKR will finish this time around. Drop me a line on Twitter or Instagram. I'm at Ashcharya Fakit. That's ASHCHARYAFUCKIT. Really, that's a mouthful. For my entertainment recommendation this week, check out a great graphic novel called Saga. It's like Romeo and Juliet, but set in space. It's where two races from a planet and its moon are locked in a battle over the couple's girl child. If you liked this episode, don't forget to check out some of the other recent conversations I've had with Vineet Nair about social entrepreneurship, with Mantra Mugd about fiction podcasts, or with Zen Memon about the great board game that is Shasan. That's it from me. This is Vineet Kanabar saying goodbye and stay safe. In this sea of misinformation about COVID, there are 3 things that have really stuck me through it. Wear a mask and wash your hands, avoid crowds, eat your vitamins, and build immunity. Come back for another episode next week. Goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, CRED Tires and thewholetruthfoods.com. So this week on Advertising is Dead, Varun was joined by Mansi Zaveri. She shares her experience of running a community for parents of young kids and teenagers and of hosting a podcast along the same lines. Gauri Devidayal was joined by Divya Thani on This Round Is On Me. Divya works as a global editorial director with Condé Nast Traveler. They discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of a travel writer's job. On Candid Kanan, Sid is in conversation with Adarsh Gaurav, who recently scored a BAFTA nomination for his role in the Netflix adaptation of The White Tiger. They talk about his role in the show, life pre- and post-stardom, and so much more. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritash and Aishi talk about the precious time and opportunities lost to the lockdown and share their post-COVID wish list. When it comes to cricket this season, we have you covered. In English, we have Edges and Sledges, which do their show live on YouTube. They look for announcements over there. And for our Hindi listeners, we have Khel Neeti, hosted by Rajiv Mishra and ex-Indian cricketer Sabah Kareem. This show is live streamed on YouTube every day at 9:15. Definitely do check these out and hope to see you again next week.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, How can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you, Begin the Journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.